Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Let's wait for a while until other participants will join. Okay, I think we can start. The rest people will join later. I will share the doc. So I'll put a link into Zoom chat. Tom, can you see my screen? Awesome. I hope you can hear me because I don't hear anyone here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
You
So
can see.
thank you. Welcome everyone to our weekly community meeting. Today's 10th of April. Glad to see all of you here. Please put your nicknames here, or somebody please just record them. I had to repeat that we have Telegram group where you can join and ask your questions. We also have Slack channel and official Kubernetes Slack. And do we have any new members on this call? It's a good time to put a few words about yourself if you want to. If not, we can go ahead. And today we have few news. We just finished a new release of Cozystack, which introduced a lot of interesting things. Finally, we just finished GPU support. For now, with Cozystack, you can see that new GPU operator is going to be deployed. This is optional component, so you still have to enable it manually. But if you have some GPU, you can pass them through into the virtual machines. How it works? Actually, you need to enable you need to enable GPU support in bundle enable option for Cozystack configuration file. And then you'll see, then you also have to add additional label for the node. So the node which having GPUs, the root GPUs will be utilized by Kubernetes and they will pass through to the virtual machines. Finally, you can configure your KubeVirt as well to discover those devices. They will be seen as resources which can be consumed in your node, and then you can create virtual machines. Yeah, so you put these devices into KubeVirt configuration, and finally you can create virtual machines with GPU specified. All the rest things will be automatically done. So kubevirt scheduler will find the node where this GPU is located and will schedule the virtual machine exactly to this node. And then this GPU will pass it through. That's a first step for GPU implementation. We also have plans to add GPU operator for tenant Kubernetes clusters. Hopefully that should be way more easier because they don't use Linux, they use normal Ubuntu. As well as about Talos Linux, I forgot to say, if you're planning to use this feature, you need to add 2 additional modules to be loaded. Is VFIO PCI and VFIO IOMO type 1. Without those modules, the GPU pass-through feature will not be working. And thanks to CNCF, we also got testing environment. So for now, we did a lot of improvements for setting proper pipeline and run automatic tests. So for now, almost every PR will be tested automatically if the specific label will be added by maintainer. Hopefully that will make our platform more stable and more predictable. And I think we will make more releases, more often releases with features to have short cycle. That's actually it. The rest features, we also reworked cloud init configuration for the users. Right now, some users were reporting that they want to have cloud init initialization again. The default behavior of cloud init usually it works just once when virtual machine is created. Some users wanted to retrigger this configuration, to let cloud init reconfigure it. So we added additional option for this. Fortunately, I have no that release deployed yet, so I can show it to you. This option is called cloud init seed, so you can specify any random strings there. And the release, then cloud init will be reconciled in the next virtual machine boot. What else? Also some short fixes for cloud init as well. For now, it is possible to specify empty cloud init. Previously, it wasn't working. Also, we updated Kubernetes application to fix some issues in it. Also, the virtual port autoscaler, and so we did some fixes for virtual port autoscaler. Previously, it wasn't working fine. Now everything should be fixed for now. And we also started tracking IP addresses usage and persistent volume claims in our workload monitors. I think this information now will be stored in created workloads. So lately it can be edited for other integrations. I think even dashboard will also show the usage of these PVCs, but not in this release. In the future releases, we will definitely implement it. Also, please take a look at our new documentation. We just updated the configuration of documentation of how to install Talos Linux on service.com. But actually, this instruction can be replicated to any other cloud provider. So we actually found a way how to install Talos Linux with the exact tools. Almost on any distribution, any cloud provider. You don't even have to have rescue mode. You can just run ordinal Ubuntu in DigitalOcean, and you can use this instruction to convert it to Talos Linux. I think we will write a technical article soon, which will dedicate on how to install Talos Linux in such environments. So we will post this link to the community soon. That's actually it. all new features. Yeah, I have few things to the community. I heard that somebody wanted to work on RAM support. So for now, since we get access to Oracle Cloud, thanks to CNCF, we can provide you technical environment. We can provide actually RAM servers if you want to try implement RAM support for Cozystack. If you're interested, please let us know. We will provide you such environment. We can do that even today. There were some things about certification for getting Kubernetes certified. I think it was about running some performance tests. Not sure, probably somebody from community say that they will do this. Actually, I'm not sure about the state of this. If you're aware of this information, please let me know. Maybe somebody on this call. All right.
The only thing I remember is that it was discussed on some meeting, but I can't recall who was the guy who wanted to do that.
Thank you. I think we will find him and ask him directly. The standard question: do we have any new successful deployments? We rework our documentation a lot. We can see that it has changed the structure thanks to Nick. He's on this call right now. We would like to get feedback if it is useful for you. Is it more easy to find new features and new needed features in this documentation? Hopefully it become more useful for you. So any feedback is welcome. And do we have any new success deployments? If you're trying to install Cozystack and if you don't succeed in that, please share your experience. We want to make documentation better. We're also working on adding better option like automated installation and the best option how you can try it on your local PC. So a few other topics. Nick, do you want to present this topic? I just didn't get it. You're on mute.
I'm very sorry, I can't speak much. Let me switch to another device. I need a minute.
All right. Also, we noticed that there's some interest of integrating Cozystack with proxmox. For now, we have one community member who is working on this implementation. Is there anybody who is interested in that? We can actually guide you and join you together if you're interested to create some working group for implementing this feature.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
So hi, thank you for the talk. I contacted him to see if we could collaborate. For the moment, I don't know how because I didn't have a response, but we'll see.
Awesome.
I'm working on this just as a Git module to import, and that can just deploy VMs and stuff, and have some segmentation for the rows on proxmox. But I don't think that's it's just. I think it's just a one-time, because integration will be more difficult to do, and that's why I contacted him directly.
Yeah, we were thinking about how to implement that best way. it seems that we need to have connection to proxmox API and control the creation of virtual machines and Kubernetes clusters over it. Also, the application for deploying managed Kubernetes should be reworked to install not kubectl CSI and CCM drivers, but install the similar drivers for proxmox. We already have them in repository in this branch, but I'm not sure the current state of this branch because I'm not maintaining it. The other question was where actually to deploy the Cozystack itself, to do that on Talos, on virtual machines, or to deploy it right on hosts, on hypervisors. Did you thought about how you're willing to do that?
You want some feedback or?
No, I mean, there is few options how you can deploy Cozystack itself. The Kubernetes, the management Kubernetes cluster, should it be deployed inside of virtual machines, inside of the proxmox, or should it be deployed right on hosts on this Debian, actually, this proxmox distribution?
Well, I think it's the question is how do we want to allocate the resource? If we want to be static for Cozystack at once, and after we can deploy more pods and so on in the already created VMs. I think it will be not very necessary to control directly the proxmox API.
Yeah, but I have worries that without controlling it over proxmox API, there will not be opportunity to run virtual machines, and in fact, or you can use nested virtualization, but I'm not sure if it will give enough performance for that. So usually Kubernetes gets integrated in cloud API, and in this way, proxmox become to be our cloud, and we need to somehow interact with it.
Well, I think it's a good idea because proxmox have some resource pool that we can use to control with one user and so on. And the proxmox team is actually developing this the pool settings to be able to manage tenant and so on. So I think that if I'm trying to set proper authorization automatically to proxmox. So I think it would be nice to do that, but I see it as a more challenging approach, but it's feasible.
All right. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Let me just point few options like you can find useful. In Cozystack, we already have this branch. We have few packages added here in system components. You can see that there is CSI driver. It is used for let Kubernetes order volumes right from proxmox instead of do that like directly from the install. It can interact with proxmox API. And there were also CCM. Don't remember where is it. That was quite old branch.
I didn't find it.
Yeah, that's here. It is in the same CSI driver. I think it should be moved outside of this CSI driver. Here is it, Proxmox Cloud Controller Manager. It is actually responsible also to connect to Proxmox API, this token, and it is responsible for not for provisioning new nodes, but it handles old nodes. If you get removed the virtual machine, it will also remove it from the Kubernetes. And usually CCM also responsible for provisioning load balancer services. But since Proxmox have no such entity, maybe it makes no sense. There are a lot of questions which should be solved, like how to provision these IPs, how to make the load balancers functionality. I don't know. So many things should be done. And I would just ask the main reason why to use Proxmox over TubeView. Is there any specific reason for that?
The idea is that has its quite popular hypervisor, and it have also monitoring included and backup services and so on. It's a lazy local cluster approach. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for feedback. All right. Nick, do we want to speak about Cozystack version?
Yeah, I can explain that now. So we've just released 0.30, and so it's the new version. And I guess some people are going to update next Monday, and some other people are going to have this version, I don't know, by next winter. So if you're updating to the edge, to the newest version, what gives you confidence and motivation to do so? It would be very useful for us to know that. And on the other hand, if you still keep like 0.22, why is that so? What keeps you from updating? So whatever you have to say about how you make decisions is very useful to us, because we're working on like stability is one of the main like focus points for us at this moment. So well, whatever you have to say about that is very valuable.
Yeah, I think it also might be useful to think about after updates and some kind of channels. To have stable channel, experimental channel. Yeah, just thinking how will users accept or not accept after updates of Cozystack? If you have any thoughts, please share them.
Just a simple question. Could you please write in the chat what's your current version on your cluster?
Good idea. I think we can also make a vote in our Telegram or Slack channel.
Yep. I'll do that. I'll do that after the meeting.
By the way, I think we have telemetry information and it should be written there as well. But it would be nice to get it directly from the community.
Yeah, exactly.
OpenFloor, do we have any questions from community? Any topics to discuss? Otherwise, let's switch to.
What about tracing stack in Cozystack? Is we have any plans? Maybe some current maybe have chosen stack, for example, ClickHouse monitoring stack for tracing, or tempo, or something else.
We have discussed that on some of previous meetings. Let me just find the meeting notes. Yeah, that was on 13th of March. We spoke about other solutions. The people mentioned hotel. Victoria Metrics also developing their own tracing solution, but it is not production yet. I think they not even published the source code yet. And there were also Corroot. No, not Corroot. Corroot is a different solution. How this solution is called from Grafana?
Tempo.
Tempo. So yeah, correct. So we actually will decide to use which solution we want to bring. We already decided that this is needed feature, and we probably want to implement it as separate part of monitoring application. There was also an idea to decompose the monitoring application to move out the logs, because it seems like metrics, logs, and traces are used for different purposes. Or, okay, logs and metrics can be used for system components, but traces are usually used not for system components, but rather for applications. So that really makes sense to make separate application for traces and add some connection to Grafana automatically. We can actually create this resource, Grafana data storage, which will automatically add this traces solution to the Grafana itself. Which solution we haven't decided yet. So this is still up to discussion.
Thanks. So, and is planned to use some DevSecOps tools in Cozystack?
DevSec tools, they mean some scanners for images or anything like that?
Something. Any tools for making Cozystack security?
I think we have to implement some tools as part of our pipeline, for example, for scanning the images for some vulnerabilities. That was really difficult to pronounce this word. Yeah, I think this totally makes sense. Let's do that as part of our roadmap. We want to improve security as well.
Maybe some modern eBPF tools for protect DDoS. I don't know. It's very interesting.
There were Falcon. I think it was working exactly that way. So it's implement some kind of BPF programs for tracking the security in runtime. I would really ask if somebody really needed it. So we would like to implement. So we are maintainers of Cozystack from NX side. We usually try to implement features of our clients if they really require this, and also community can join and implement the features they want to. So if you have any ideas, feel free to suggest any ideas.
I was thinking that some DevSecOps tools, we have to split that in a couple of categories. You know, there are monitors, which just monitor, scan, some kind of find vulnerabilities or something, and different other stuff that scans code and tries to find vulnerabilities in the code and something like that. For the first kind of tools, I would maybe advise Vazoo as a monitoring agent, but it will need some control plane and some storage to run it. So it would be maybe a complicated task to implement that.
Maybe Kubernetes security rules, for example, for for managed cluster and for created by user clusters, maybe. For example, a developer write Docker file and he makes some issues, and Kyverno will protect his application. For
But
example,
wait a second, Kyverno is the tool which controls, it's like open policy agent, which controls the created YAMLs in Kubernetes, how it can control Docker files.
Yeah, I agree. It is not like controlling Docker files. It mainly just parses YAML files or manifests
yes,
that
yes,
are applied.
yes.
So yeah, that's a different tool.
I was thinking
Implementing
about
Kyverno. Go on, please.
thinking about using Kyverno for some small tasks. For example, adding additional annotations. So now we specific Go webhook for that. And also for injecting image pool secrets if Cozystack images are stored in a private repository. But first we need to implement the script for moving these images to private registry. Yeah, I think Kybernetes can be useful in some scenarios. Let's go to them. Let's come back to Kybernetes when it will be for exact cases. Actually, if you want to implement some features, we need to first ask why. And usually we expect that people will provide exact scenarios. And they're usually written like in two forms. I am as Cozystack administrator, I want to do, and then you can specify what you want to do, what you want to achieve actually, what is your value from implementing this feature. Because usually if we implement some features, it makes additional supporting costs for supporting and updating this feature. Actually, I don't really like it. We have some features which are not in use by anyone, and we still need to support. We need to take to spend our time for covering them with tests, and sometimes they can break other features. So it's actually a good question. How can we implement the simplicity for extending Cozystack with new features? Maybe to create some community repository like Linux. We have this in our roadmap. And in this way, users will be able to implement any functionality they want to using Cozystack as just as a framework. And as about Vazook, isn't that thing which is based on Elasticsearch?
Actually, I'm not sure about how it works underneath. I just saw that it was used in some installations. By the way, I strongly agree with your position that we should think before we implement stuff, because security things may sometimes bring a lot of overhead, performance overhead or something. And I think it should be really discussed and tested well before implementing. And there should be a goal which we want to achieve before implementing that stuff.
Yeah, even observability. You might know that there is Serum Hubble opportunity, but when you enable Hubble, it usually creates so many resources. So it usually it's better to disable Hubble.
Exactly.
And have no observability.
Yeah, like it's like close to running trace route. TCP dump.
There was a joke about Istio. It's just 500 megabytes per sidecar. So yeah, it would be nice to collect some use cases. If you think about some features are missing, please create an issue in format, hey, I'm as a Cozystack administrator, or I'm a Cozystack user, I want to get this working because of some reason. That would help us to put this feature request into roadmap. It will also help you to find the other people in the community who might be interested in this feature. And we will also ask about that in our community meeting. And just connect you all together. So you might be interested to implement it as part of community work. Many thanks for your input.
I just have a little question. That's about security, and I wanted to know, like, what was your current opinions about the state of the security of the Cozystack code and installation overall? Because I use Talos for security reasons, and so what I install on it is quite sensitive.
Yeah, Talos Linux quite secure by itself. I really like idea that if you have no console, there is no opportunity to use it somewhere, somebody else by hosting provider. So if you have node running, nobody can just actually log it into in, reset root password, and do whatever they want. As from the rest things, we still use many default images, like the same Cilium, LuxCD, I know all of these operators, they use default images. We have a roadmap to move all of these images back to our repository. And then we also want to update them to use distroless images, because sometimes we get security reports from our customers. They see that there are a lot of vulnerabilities found in these images, but they are usually found in some components which are not in use by the they are not in use by anyone else. So there might be some small Go binary which runs and don't use any libraries, but there might be some vulnerability in some other packages. And the rest thing, also, if we use these images, they're running in management cluster. The users who consume Cozystack itself, they usually have no access to management cluster. They can use only managed services. They have no opportunity to run images or execute in some pods. They can only interact with Postgres, Kubernetes API, and things like that. So this somehow lowering down the risk of these security issues, but we have roadmap to first move all the images back to our repository and also update them to use distroless images to have all these security reports. From the other perspective, I don't know, we just solved some security issues in the past. I think for now, there should not be any security issues, like critical ones. But you never know. If you find some, please report us. We will fix it as soon as possible. Okay.
Thanks.
The next
One
question.
more,
Yeah,
one more
please.
question about GPU support from my side. So I heard that NVIDIA GPU operator does not work with Talos Linux. Can you confirm that, or maybe you faced some issues?
We spent some time working with that. I can say this through that GPU operator supports two different modes. How you can actually consume those GPUs. Wait a second, I will just record it. Operator support in Talos. So there are two modes. The first mode, when you use GPU for pods, for ordinary pods, for running workloads, for example. For this, you need to have NVIDIA GPU drivers and run it in one node. Then it will be used for pods. This is more difficult thing, rather when you use GPU for virtual machines. We got some experiments with using GPU for pods, but for now, since we use Cozystack as hypervisor for running virtual machines and virtual Kubernetes clusters, the second option is more critical for us. And we have tested that Talus can work in this mode with GPU support, GPU pass-through with no any troubles. You don't even to include NVIDIA drivers into Talus image. The only thing you need to do is to enable two modules. So first, your machine should support IOMME, IOMME. Not sure how to pronounce it correctly. And you also need to enable these two modules. Then GPU operator will discover some GPU devices and will map them into this driver. And it will publish it into Kubernetes. So finally, you will be able to run virtual machines natively on Talus Linux with no troubles with Azure kubevirtual configuration. So actually, it will find it and add it to the node as resource, as normal resource like CPU and RAM. And later you can create virtual machine just with this GPU specified. And I was testing it many times. It was working as a charm actually. I was just even have experience running virtual machine on this GPU and running virtual machine inside of this virtual machine and passing through this GPU. The second mode is going to be added to our tenant Kubernetes clusters, which are currently backed by ordinary Ubuntu. And thanks to that, GPU operator will also bring the NVIDIA modules and automatically install it. So I think in the next release, we also will have GPU operator for tenant clusters, which would allow you to use this stuff passed through GPUs in GPU workloads in tenant.
Okay, thank you.
Feel free to ask any questions. We also have a question. Ever wondered if you delete Cozystack deployment and reapply just in case doing kubectl delete ordinarily don't work? What exactly didn't work?
Hello. I think naturally, or the way it was configured, there are some finalizers that use kube Cosysystem namespace. So when you try to delete, let's say you want to run some kind of edit to you come up the configuration file, and at the same time it's not working. So you probably I just think about say, okay, now using Kubernetes, you can delete your probably your resources and then you reapply it, and then probably things can get fixed. But it seems like Cosysystem has a finalizer, and then that stops it. It stays at the terminating mode without going through. Even if I should be able to remove the finalizers very well. I haven't done that. It still does not delete every other thing. You still have your M release even if you delete the installer. So I think something we can look into as well.
What kind of helm release it was?
From the documentation, right well, after you create your config map and you apply the deployment, that's the Cozy installer YAML file. When you do that, it installs multiple M charts, and at the end of the day, when you tend to go through the same process of deleting it, it doesn't just delete.
Yeah, that's weird because usually the only thing the installer do is create deployment with HTTP server, which serves all of these helm charts. There should not be any finalizer, and you should be able to delete it Actually, for now, it's about deleting project. We try to not do any active actions for deleting.
Okay.
So if you remove Cozystack itself, all the existing Helm releases will continue existing in the cluster. They will not be able to update or reconcile because the Cozystack server is not existing anymore, but nothing of workloads will be broken. They will continue existing there. One more thing about this bundle enable and bundle disable functions. We have this in documentation that if you want to use some yeah, let me just find it in the documentation. Cozystack bundles. So every bundle can be configured with bundle disable and bundle enable. Oh, we probably need to update the documentation because there are also option for enabling specific components. That's optional ones. If you disable some existing components, they're also not going to be deleted. And this is not bugged. This is just not implemented feature. I think we will implement it. And Nick, please create an issue. I think we need to implement that feature for removing components if they explicitly specify it in configuration.
Yeah. All right. So I think So that's clear. Another thing is even right from this bundle, Andre, can you go back to the bundle?
Could you please repeat it?
Can you go back to the documentation on the full bundle? Yeah.
Yeah, you can see there are some options.
All
Actually,
right.
all the options for the bundles are
Yeah.
installed by the platform application. So we can click this for platform, and you can see the configuration for every specific bundle. For
Bundles, right.
example, this tofu, it has added GPU operator. It's not here. Yeah, that was possible. So you can see all the components here. Some of them can be optional. For example, GPU operator is optional component, and it will be deployed only if you specify it in bundle enable function. But you have also an opportunity to disable some components. For example, you can disable metal-OB. The only thing the Helm release for metal-OB will not automatically remove for now.
Okay.
And we will fix it soon. Thanks for pointing this.
Right. Okay, very perfect. So another question before I round up. I just realized that sometimes when I think based on for flexibility, you could let's say for instance you edit your config map. That's the Cozy installer config map, and in my own use case, because I was even trying to work on it today, just a few hours ago, and let's say you editing something like the root host, and then at the end of the day, let's say you have let's say for example you're having example.org as the root host, and of course that does not work. And then let's say you now have another a root host that you are going to be linking with your public IP. Let's say for example you have servers.org. So once you edit your config map, well, that's bad of me, but I just feel the idea should be like it updates all of the resources such that when you get to maybe the ingresses, it should be able to catch what you've configured in your config map. But that's not the case, right?
You're right. There is a
Yeah.
bug report for this. think it was reported somewhere. Thank you for pointing this. I think we will also fix it in the next release. For now, we're focusing our releases to make things more stable and more understandable. And that's one of the features we want to implement. That's true. So if you change domain for your tenant cluster, the rest components which are deployed inside of this tenant, they are not going to be reconciled. So we need to.
They won't. Yeah.
For now, we have the simple workaround. So you can use flag-cd tool, and you can say flag-cd reconcile Helm release in some namespace. Let's say Kubernetes ABCDE. And after this command, it will be successfully reconciled.
So how does it work for, let's use this the use case for this root host. So how does it work there in that case?
Yeah, let me explain you. I can share my screen.
Okay.
So here we have some namespaces. When you deploy new tenants, for example, tenant root, it is usually deployed in tenant root namespace. Even edit. And you have some options specified here. For example, here we have host and some additional components. The tenant actually is a Helm chart which deploys namespace and some additional Helm releases for deploying etcd, ingress, and monitoring. Where the host is used. When it creates new namespace, you can find that this namespace also contains some specific annotations. It contains host annotation, and this annotation is actually used by any Helm release, by any application installed in this namespace. So it actually have lookup function which checks this annotation, which host name should I use, and it takes this value and appends some subdomain to this. For example, let's check Kubernetes. System Kubernetes. You can place so it takes this information from the annotation. And if you change your tenant configuration, if you update your host, the Kubernetes Helm release just continue existing as it is. And if you want to reconcile it, if you want to update the host, for now, the only option you have is to reconcile it. You need to use reconcile Helm release in namespace tenant root, and then the name of the application. You can also add force flag to make it sure. And then this Helm release for Kubernetes will be reconciled, and it will apply new configuration from the new annotations.
Okay.
This is more about Cozystack mechanics. We want to hide it because actually user shouldn't think about how to do this. But if you understand how it works, it might be easier to you to debug it and use it further, even if after we implement this feature.
No, okay. That's good. So well, this can work pending on the time when it's permanently fixed. It's good.
Yeah, I'm glad that I was able to help you. Even if you face with some difficulties, I really am glad that we got this feedback from the community because we really want to implement some features to make it more easy to use. by non-experienced users.
All right. All right.
All right, we have 4 minutes left. I think we have no time for bug scrub and for pull requests. There are not many pull requests created from the community, which we expect to get attention for. You can try to check new issues. Check storage class and IP. Yeah, that's from our team. Incorrect that that was already fixed probably. Necessary Kafka monitoring alerts, triggered and Kafka is not defined. Quite good, but we already answered almost everything. Yeah, that's also one of the interesting case. If we don't enable some components, we need to think how can we hide them even from the Cozystack dashboard. Right. The rest probably are seen. Okay, then. Do we have any other questions? 3 minutes left. In this case, going once, going twice. And thank you everyone for attending our community meeting. See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Andre.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Andre.
Bye.